Well, hello again. Here we are, back at the bench working on another amplifier. Boys and girls, guess what we have in the shop today? We have another Blues Junior. In fact, thanks to YouTube, I actually have 3 more Blues Juniors in the shop. What we're going to talk about on this amp is something that goes back to our other video. I mentioned I had a problem with the phase inverter tube that I had never seen before. Well, as coincidence would have it, we have the same problem going on with this amp. When it came in, the left hand L84 was blown. The customer said that the amp hummed and then just stopped working and the light went out. So by inspecting that when he brought it in, I found out that the heater and the plate had shorted on that tube. Of course, drawing current, blowing his fuse. So I shut the amp down. So I get the amp up and running and find out that we still have this current issue. Now, this is so odd. If we look here, again, we have 33 mils on one side, which again is still a bit hot for this amp, but we're just checking things out. Over here, we got 60. Alright. If you don't believe me, let's pull this preamp tube, which is the phase inverter. Let's check it again. Okay, got 34. We have 35. Right? Further evidence. Give me a second here. We'll let that come up. Be a good time for Muzak. You can hum along if you want. Favorite tune, whatever. Okay. 33, roughly. 33, roughly. That's the other tube. Now, this brings up the point, like I say, coincidence? We're dealing with 2 entirely different amplifiers. 2 different series made probably a decade apart. And by the way, this amplifier happens to be the replacement of his original amplifier that he had purchased in 2012. It was taken in for repairs in 2015. It was repaired, sent home by the authorized service center under warranty. Worked about 45 minutes, quit again. He took it back. They deemed the amplifier unrepairable and replaced it with this one. So here we are. He's made it this far with this one. So getting back to this whole tube thing, let's talk about this coincidence. I still have the tube out of the other one, the first one I found this in. As we talked earlier, it was a replacement JJ that the customer had put in previously before he brought it in. Okay? This tube is an original Fender groove tube. It's actually a soft tech, probably an R1. So it's odd that I had never seen this before the first amp come in. Now that I've seen it twice, and we have 2 entirely different types of preamp tubes made in 2 different factories in 2 different countries, makes me think it's a little bit more than a coincidence. But I could never really find anything wrong that would cause this. Plus you put a tube in, that's fine. This is really starting to tick me off. So I'm going to dig into this a little bit deeper. I'll get back to you. Well, we've managed to get this little Blues Junior taken care of. The mystery of the preamp tube still eludes me. Gonna have to look into that a little bit deeper. I really hadn't had a chance to check that tube out from the first amplifier. Now I have two to check out. I may actually have to enlist some help from across the country. I may have to ship it to somebody, have them actually check it out. I know a couple guys. We'll see what happens. I may do some checking on my own. The only thing I can figure is we may have a oscillation causing it to drive one of the output tubes that you can't hear. I can't scope it and find it either. So mystery still remains. The thing is, everything else is good. I've done my mods, the stabilization mods on this. I've got the amp running, got a decent set of output tubes in it. I've got my tube retainer on it. Replaced the phase inverter tube. His preamp tubes are still okay, so we're going to leave those. Everything's up and good and running. Everything looks good. So I'm going to buckle this little guy up and send it out. And if anything else happens, I will let you know. So till next time, take care, be well, and I'll see you then.